Hey everyone, Amari Records here, and today we're going to be trying something different. We're going to be doing my first ever tier list, and I thought what better way to do this than with one of the best discographies of the 2010s, Mr. Travis Scott. Now let's get right into this. So, first up, Al Farrow. This was first our introduction to Travis Scott, and you're seeing his influences on his sleeve. Travis is very explicit about them. You're getting a lot of Cudi vibes, you're getting a lot of Kanye vibes. But you've also got, and that's not a bad thing, by the way. It's such an enjoyable project, and I've revisited a lot, especially this year, being at like the start of my journey, kind of like adult life, whatever. It's kind of irrelevant, but yeah, you've got so many highlight tracks that still sound as good today as they would have back then. Like Hell of a Night, Quintana. It's full of amazing songs. But, like, of course, it's still Travis's first, so he's still finding his footing. He's still finding where his sound fits and how he can create his own. Like, you've got songs in here like Dance on the Moon, which are very Cudi-esque, but I actually love that song. And even Drive, which kind of sounds like something you'd find off of a kid named Cudi. But, yeah, I think in terms of Travis's discography, I think this is a B tier project. It's great, you know, again, it's Travis finding his footing. It's not going to be the upper echelon of his catalog, but still a great project. Next up, Days Before Rodeo, which I think we can all agree is his best mixtape out of the two. You just have some of Travis's best songs on here, like, obviously, Drugs You Should Try It. That still, to this day, is probably in Travis's top three, like, my personal opinion. I don't think there's... Objectively, it's one of his best songs. I understand music is subjective, but that song, it's aged phenomenally. Then you've got like Basement Freestyle in here, the Metro production, Skyfall. I think we have to put this in A tier. I don't think I could not put it there. Do I think it's his best? Like I know some people who would put this in S tier and argue that it's Travis's best project, period, but I feel like he's got better. And that's what we're about to talk about now. Arguably the best trap album of all time. You have arguably Travis's best song, not one of the best in 90210. Phenomenal. Everything about this album, from the production to the features to Travis's performances himself, fucking incredible. I can't sing the praises of Rodeo enough. Even Apple Pie, which is such an underrated track, that's an amazing outro about Travis talking about how he's leaving home and going to find his own footing. And for someone like me, that's really relatable, and that's one of my personal favorite Travis Scott songs as well. And then not to mention you got the Metro production with like 3500, and then you've got Nightcrawler, which is an absolute anthem. Antidote as well, which is still, it's a timeless song. You can play that any setting, everyone's going to like that. Well, maybe not any setting, you're going to play that at a funeral. But if you do, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I have to put Rodeo in S tier. But will we have more in S tier? We will find out. Okay. Now, Birds. This might be a hot take, but I think Birds arguably has the best features on any Travis Scott album with Kendrick and Three Stacks. And you've also got like Pick Up the Phone with Thug and Quavo, which is great. But with that being said, as good as the features are, I feel like this is his weakest album. And here's why. Everything after Goosebumps, aside from Pick Up the Phone, I feel like they're some of the weakest tracks Travis has ever put out. Especially Guidance, which is a very common take, but for good reason. I don't think it's one of Travis's strongest. I think Wonderful is also his weakest outro. The Weeknd's performance on it is great, but I don't think it's up to par with like your Apple Pies, with your Till Further Notices, with your Coffee Beans. So, but you do have your highs on this album, don't get me wrong. The Ends is amazing, and of course Goosebumps, like there's a reason that became as big as it was. And then you've even got some low-key tracks on here, like Way Back, even though that's pretty big. Oh, and of course Cudi. How could I forget about Cudi? Cudi's one of the best parts of this album. Like, and he's a part of that like stacked feature list I was talking about. That's why he's a big reason in why I consider it to have the best features in Travis's discography. I think I think it's on the level of Al Farrow, if not a bit better. So we're gonna put it in like high B tier. There we go. Okay. Jack Huncho, I think, is this his weakest project? No. But I think Here's my thing. It's a solid project. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Travis has a bad album or a bad project. But the thing is, the tracks on it aren't as memorable as it is across the rest of his discography. And dispute me all you like in the comments if you disagree. He's got good chemistry with Quavo and all, but I just feel like a lot of the sound, the soundscape throughout the album is very similar. Not in like a sense of like, of course it's got a cohesive sound, which is what you'd want from an album, but a lot of it sounds very similar. I do enjoy the intro of the album a lot, but it's the Travis Scott album I find myself revisiting the least, aside from Jack Boys, which we'll get to later. But yeah, I'm going to put this C tier. It's not a bad project by any means, but in terms of Travis Scott's discography, I'd put it in C. Okay, Astroworld, which I think was mine and a lot of people's introductions into Travis. And yeah. What's there not to say about Astroworld? I do think that it's up there with Rodeo as his best album. Like, I personally would probably have Rodeo above it, but it changes on the day. Like, beautiful songs like Stop Trying to Be God. The features across the entire album, incredible. Frank Ocean on Carousel. Everyone on No Bystanders. Yeah. I do think, like, you got those slightly weaker tracks in an NC-17 and a Who What, but again, they're not bad tracks by any means, and I think they're still strong, but compared to the rest of the track list, maybe not as strong in comparison. Of course, the intro with Stargazing and that beat switch. Yeah, I think in terms of Travis's discography, this has to go S tier. And a Coffee Bean. What an outro. What an outro. Him talking about his relationship there. And just what it's like going to that Kardashian family and being seen the way he is. Incredible. Okay. Jack Boys. I think this falls victim to having such a short track list. And usually I enjoy when an album is concise and straight to the point. But I feel like this being a label tape would have benefited from more tracks. It just feels like whenever I go into Jack Boys, I'm like, what could have been? Because I don't know if anyone remembers, like, there was this bunch of leaked tracks, like, track lists floating around that had a lot of different tracks, different features. And I feel like that would have been better suited for a label tape. Like, look at what Cole did with Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Like, that is how you do a label tape. Everyone gets multiple times to shine on that album. Whereas this one, I feel like no one really gets enough. Like, I enjoy Gaddy on this track list, but I do, and the song with Don Toliver, I can't remember, and Quavo and Offset, that's a really good song as well. Had Enough, that's what it's called. Oh my god, sorry, I had a mental blank. I think that's great. I think that might be the highlight performance of the album, Don Toliver on that track. Yeah, but I think in terms of Travis's discography, we're doing this tier list based on Travis's discography, not like just in terms of D overall, which would be the bottom. I think in Travis's discography, D. Okay, and that brings us to the most recent and arguably Travis's most underrated album, Utopia. Now, this might be a hot take, but I have Utopia over Astroworld, and I think it's arguably Travis's best. And here's why. Thematically, it is easily Travis's best and most well written. The concept of finding utopia, but it also being a dystopia at the same time, and how Travis takes you through it, through the production, through his performances, through his writing, which is very akin to his early mixtapes. Travis is rapping his ass off on Utopia, and I love it. I personally love it when Travis gets into that technical bag with all these different flows and stuff. I had a blast listening to it on first listen, and I still enjoy it as much as I did to that on that day. Now, you have arguably, again, I'm saying arguably a lot because this is just my opinion. In my opinion, Travis's best intro in Hyena. That production is unlike anything else we've heard him on before. And then you've got one of his best ever songs, in my eyes. I don't think there's any denying that. And from a technical performance as well, his cadence and the speeds he's rapping at on that second half, flawless. And of course, like the whole, what I would do to save me a child, like that whole line, the things I created became the most awaited. Stop. Just that's amazing writing from Travis and something you wouldn't really expect from him. And then I love the features on here from Cuddy, Tizo, of course, on Modern Jam, sorry, there's so many features on it. Scissor and Future on Telekinesis. I think 21 on Topia Twins is really underrated, and it sadly gets overshadowed by that very memorable Rob 49 verse. But yeah, I think I would personally put Utopia up in S tier. And also, can we... Oh, hang on, let me go back. Can we talk about that track, the run from Circus Maximus all the way to Love? Holy shit. From Parasail and Lost Forever. The Alchemist production switch, West Side Gun and Travis on an Alchemist beat together. Holy shit. I adore that song as well. But yeah, this is my Travis Scott album ranking. Let me know what yours would be in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this type of video, and if you did, let me know any other rappers' discographies you want me to see ranked. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.